What are we Timmy's here? Now, 2022 had some really cool heroes attached, but every good hero comes with a great villain. And that's what we had in 2022. I mean, 2022 had some really cool film villains. Now, I'm only going to be talking about the movie villains. There are some cool TV villains I could have talked about, like obviously Vecna from Stranger Things season 4, or Chucky for season 2, and all. But I'm mostly going to be talking about the films here. But here are my official top 10 favorite movie villains of 2022. All right, coming in at number 10, I'm going to go with Chris Evans for The Great Man. I mean, Chris Evans just having that like mustache, twirly character, I thought was perfect there. You know, him going toe to toe with Ryan Gosling was great. I mean, we never really seen Chris Evans go bad before. Obviously, whenever you did Chris Evans, you always think of him playing the hero in Captain America and all. So seeing him go size as a villain, which is interesting because in that like that's the same time where like another Chris turned his role into a villain, which was Chris Hemsworth for Spiderhead. So that's interesting. See, like around that same time, we had like not one but two Chris's go from their superhero roles to playing a villain role here for a Netflix film, which I thought was cool. But that aside, Chris Evans I just thought was really cool. I mean, I'm really curious to see who's the next villain in the next Grey Man's gonna be because we all know they're all doing a couple of like sequels and all. But who's the next villain's gonna be beyond me? Will it be another Marvel actor? Who knows? Number nine, I'm gonna go with the character of Ghostface. Spoiler, maybe I should do a little bit of a spoiler, but if you guys have not seen Scream by now, just mute it or whatever. But of course, you guys Ghostface ends up becoming the characters of Richie and Amber, and of course, it's so hard to know which one of them actually did the killing and stuff. But I still do it. Like obviously, Ghostface is one of the most interesting horror characters because it's like Ghostface is not really a character like that's similar to Jason or Mike Myers. It's just a regular person in a costume, And we've seen lots of cool people don the Ghostface costume before, and I think both Richie and Amber both were awesome in this as a character Ghostface. They really played their part really well here. Of course, Roger L. Jackson, voicing the character of Ghostface, I think it's just is crazy to believe that this is the same guy who also voiced Mojo Jojo in Power of Girls. So wrap wrap your heads around that there. Uh, of course, I cannot wait to see Ghostface back in action for the next Scream movie. That's gonna be cool to see. But yeah, Scream like the recent Scream, Ghostface in the recent Scream was really fun to watch. So cannot wait to see more shenanigans for the next one. All right, number 8, I'm gonna go with Jim Carrey as Doctor Robotic for Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Now, Jim Carrey playing Doctor Robotic is brilliant casting. I mean, I think he really plays the part perfectly here. Of course, him actually donning the board head and the mustache and even the belly a little bit. I thought was brilliant here. Of course, the next villain, and we already know at the end of the post credit for Sonic 2, we already know the next villain for Sonic 3 is going to be Shadow, so that's going to be interesting to see. So, yeah, I mean, as for Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotic, brilliant casting here. He really plays the part perfectly. Will he return for Sonic 3? Who knows? That's what we're going to see. All right. Number 7, I'm going to go with Ethan Hawke as the grabber for the Black Phone. Ethan Hawke is super awesome in this. I mean, I still cannot believe that this is actually his first ever time playing a villain, or a movie villain, I should say. Before this, he did do Black Moon Knight, but still, Ethan Hawke playing this character is brilliant. Of course, based on the story by Stephen King, which by Stephen King's son, I should say. Uh, yeah, the Black Phone is just really terrific, very creepy. Ethan Hawke just plays the grabber perfectly. You know, I mean, I'm still really curious to see the grabber's origin story, like maybe a prequel of like who the grabber was when he was in his youth. I think that will be cool to see in the future. But as for this, Ethan Hawke just he just plays his part perfectly and a well terrific performance. All right, number six, I'm gonna go with David Robert Doran. Now, of course, I'm adding him as not one but two characters he did this year. One, of course, is the Grinch in the main one, which is of course a horror version of the iconic story we all know and love. And the second one is, of course, as Art the Clown. And Art the Clown is one of the most violent movie clowns you'll see in history. I mean, he Art the Clown will make Pennywise the Clown be like, yeah, that those kills are a little too much power. But yeah, the kills in this thing that Arthur Clown does is so gruesome, super intriguing, and I think Dorian just does such a great job at playing this character. And of course, him playing Grinch, obviously no one could beat Jim Carrey's Grinch, but but of course, David Dorn, I think, plays the Grinch perfectly. The makeup was great. I mean, he is having a great habit of playing these makeup characters, and he does it perfectly. I hope we'll get another mean one in the future, and I'm hoping we get a Terrifier 3 because there is already talks about another one coming, but we shall see. All right, number five is another horror character here, and that is Mia Goth as Pearl for both X and Pearl. Now, Mia Goth, like her as Pearl and X, I still wrap my head around that's actually Mia Goth in the Pearl makeup. I remember watching X, seeing like, who the heck is that? Like, who's playing the Olay? And Mia Goth just, I still always try to wrap my head around that's actually Mia Goth playing the character. I mean, like, interesting there. So pretty much, if you look at it, it's Mia Goth pretty much the scene where like a Pearl is trying to fill up Mia Goth's vaccine character. That's pretty much Mia Goth filling herself up. So okay, that's perfect, interesting right there. But yeah, this like Ty West, I just thought he did such a great job at directing this. Mia Goth gives such an Oscar-worthy performance. Like I would love to see Mia Goth get an Oscar nomination for this. I don't think it's gonna happen, but I would love to see her get a nomination for Pearl. Like she just plays this part perfectly. A really cool villain here. So talk about a great character. All right, number four, I'm gonna go with Paul Dano as the Riddler for the Batman. Now, I probably could have also added Woody Harrelson. I could have added Colin Farrell as a Penguin, but Paul Dano as a Riddler was just brilliant casting. I mean, I remember when they were announced that Paul Dano was going to play Riddler, I was like, okay, that's interesting casting. But man, Paul Dano just crushed it every inch. The whole creepy aspect was great. Of course, like it's always hard to really top. You always, it's always hard for a Batman film to top Heath Ledger's The Joker. I admit, Paul Dano as a Riddler might have just topped Heath Ledger's Joker. I mean, Paul Dano's Riddler was so good. I even think he deserves an Oscar nomination. Even though he was good in The Fablemans, he was terrific in that. I think he deserves an Oscar nomination more for playing the Riddler. Like, if I was the head of the Oscars and all, I will literally nominate him for the Riddler over the Fablemans. And he was great in the Fablemans, but still, he was just super awesome here. I would love to see maybe Paul Dano as a character again in the future, maybe in the planned Arkham Asylum series, or maybe popping up in the Penguin series. Who knows? But man, the Riddler's like, of course, the Riddler. The last time a actor played Riddler live action was Jim Carrey in Batman Forever, and Paul Dano even upset Jim Carrey's Riddler. Like that's how good he was there. All right, number three. He of course played the villain in the first film, but he was awesome as the villain in this, and that is Stephen Lang in Avatar: The Way of the Water. I mean, seeing like Stephen Lang go from his human self in the first Avatar film to having him go like all blue in Avatar: Way of Water was a brilliant way to go with this. Because I don't know if this is too much of a spoiler, but I was really curious to see who the main bad guy is. But seeing Stephen Lang, or as he likes to be called, Slang, play the villain in this, once again I thought it was great. I mean, I hope we do get maybe a newer villain in part three or four, but Still, Lang playing the villain is just perfect. Of course, we know how great of a villain he does when he appeared in Don't Breathe. He was really good in that one. And Stephen Lang is just terrific in anything. So yeah, him as a bad guy in this is really brilliant here. So there's that. All right. Number two, I'm gonna go with Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda Maximoff in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Now, I was still wrapping my head that they actually literally went ahead and made Scarlet Witch as a villain. Like I would not expect them to actually fully do that, but here we are. And Elizabeth Olsen, she was not only just good, I think she deserves an Oscar nomination. If I give if they gave a couple of other Oscar nominations to actors who play super comic book characters, I will probably give maybe a nomination to Paul Dano for the Batman and Elizabeth Olsen to Doctor Strange Multiverse Madness because she was awesome at playing this character here. Her just a bit of a spoiler, but her killing off the Illuminati, I just thought was so terrifying to watch here. So yeah, I mean Elizabeth Olsen just nails it every inch. Played her part perfectly. I hope we see maybe Wanda again in the future, but we just say. And my number one favorite movie villain of the year is, of course, going to her, Tenno Harata. I hope I pronounced that right. As Namor the Summoner in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. I mean, of course, the best villain in the MCU was always Mike B. Jordan, Killmonger. So how do you really top the Killmonger character, adding the character Namor? And I thought this actor, Tenoch, really played his part perfectly here. He nailed it here. Maybe I'm not saying he's even better than Killmonger, but I say he'll probably upstage Killmonger a little bit as a really intriguing villain here. And I hope we see Namor again. I know there is words like we might be getting a Namor sometime in the near future once again, but it will be interesting to see. So yeah, I mean, I'm really curious to see who the if Black Panther 3 does happen. I'm curious to see who they're going to play, who's the next film they're going to get. Who knows? But that aside, yeah, Neymar is an awesome villain there. But that's pretty much it. Here's my quick rundown: 10 Chris Evans for The Gray Man, 9 Ghostface for Scream, 8 Jim Carrey for Sonic the Hedgehog 2, 7 Ethan Hawke for The Black Phone, 6 David Robert Dorn for Terrifier 2 and The Main One, 5 Mia Goth for Pearl/X, 4 Paul Dano for The Batman, 3 Stephen Lang for Avatar: The Way of the Water, 2 Elizabeth Olsen for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, and number 1 Tenno Harata for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Now, there's probably other ones I probably could have added too. Let me see what else we got here. Movie villains of 2020. Yeah, if I watched the TV, I probably would add Vecna for Stranger Things, but other ones I probably could have added Christian Bale as Gore the God Butcher for Thor: Love and Thunder was okay, just wasn't as strong there. The character of Jamie Clayton as Pinhead for Hellraiser. I mean, how could you make a Pinhead attractive? It's beyond me, but Jamie Clayton made it perfect, made it work. Mark Rollins' character, Sully and Bones and R is a good one. Eva Santa Claus in Christmas was a decent one. What else we got here? Christy for Deadstream is a good one. Uh, there's some other really decent ones I probably could have added. Esther from Orphan First Kill is a good one. But let me let you guys. What are some of your favorite who are some of your favorite movie villains of the year? Drop comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for notification. This is Himi signing out.